Hello, everyone. This is Sharon Serota at SunGates Center, and with me today is Ella Arbit. Ella is a professional woman, and her path is transformation. She is about having light, story, and into protection. And this is fabulous because this is how we can learn about humanity, we can learn about ourselves, and learn about our truth. So welcome, Ella.
Thank you so much, Sharon, for warm welcoming, and it's my pride. It's a big gift for me to be sitting next to you, to speak from the bottom of my heart, express myself, and tell everybody that life actually doesn't end when your loved one leaves due to disease process, hardship for other people, and it didn't. It's very emotional for me. The father of my kids left. My kids and I are alive. And that's the biggest gift that life gave me by protecting me. And the rest is heaven. The rest is heaven.
Yes, absolutely. It's when things change in our life so much, it turns our life upside down. And it's like, how can we be stronger? What can help us to propel and bring us joy in our life and to still be feeling worthy? So actually, what had brought you to this topic of transformation?
Nothing prepared me, to be honest. I was a sincere person. I worked in the medical profession all my life. I loved what I did to the point that almost costed me some happiness. You know, I was watching my husband regress due to the disease process. Was he taken care of properly? It's hard to remember everything, but I remember my emotional upheavals about what is medicine doing to my man? What are we here? Something was wrong. And I had many years behind my back serving proudly, worked for United Healthcare in a long-term care facilities, providing to the standard a good care. But at the same time, I didn't feel like I was served. So what happened to my husband, I think, is a story of many, many other people in this world, that his disease became more promising to my colleagues than I just retired from the force. And will never regret that decision. His hemoglobin A1C was checked, his blood pressure was checked, and I promised my husband that I will not intervene during his doctor's visits, only because I'm a wife. But the treatment that I received was very belittling. Why I'm still having questions about that, why I was not regarded as a source, why was my heart not welcomed into conversations. I also knew certain things about medicine and life and what his ideas were about what he wanted to give to his life. Life is sacred.
And it's very interesting that you come from such a strong background in the medical field and that you weren't able to share your thoughts about how he can get well or any of his therapies or medicines. Maybe he was taking traditional medicine and that was not helping him. Was he sick for a long time?
His life was in danger, and we collectively, I would say I did the same thing because I was part of the cohort. We're trying to prolong it. He wanted to pass on. He actually knew exactly what he needed. His life ended, and he didn't want any extension. He was not naive. I think we are naive in the profession that I served for so many decades. We don't regard, we regret. Maybe later, I regret it. I was facing myself later after a certain number of years of being a widow, and I was looking back and I was thinking, why was I not allowing my love to go to heavens?
Because that's what he truly wanted. He was ready to move on.
My ego didn't. I was scared to lose my husband. You don't lose love. Love goes on. He's still present. By large. My kids don't know him, and maybe they feel him. He left me with a promise. He died in my arms. I finally listened, and I realized deep down, I think God within me spoke very true words to me about, if you don't stop doing what you guys are doing, and if you don't begin, which is a true transformation that began with me, God catered to my heart because I was a good person, and he didn't want me to regret much. He wanted me just know enough that this is not the way it should be. It's not mentorship that I received from my ego, it's the love of God that showed me the path.
Yeah, so God is actually, you feel as though God is with you. You have a strong background, too, in your studies with God. It could be such things as the Kabbalah. It could look as something else, which is, maybe something beyond the Torah. There's other practices that you do, other things that you're working on that also aligns you with the God promise or just God consciousness.
I never believed in God before then. I never knew he existed. I actually grew up in Soviet Union. Although I left many years ago, I still never consciously, like you're mentioning, accepted him. Not because I had a struggle, I just was naive in that respect because it was not introduced to me at the early stages. But love knew me from the bottom of my heart, who always treated my patients with respect, always wanted to be honest and earnest, and didn't realize. I just didn't realize. Was it a mistake? No, he took me into his hands and he carried me through the experiences. But the first thing what happened, it was a natural awakening. All of a sudden, in the grief process of not being able, I could not make my mind up. What is it? Because I was tainted by the medical knowledge, by my expertise. And ladies and gentlemen, it was 6 years ago. So I heard the inner voice that shook me up in the midst of my thinking, probably not right. I heard, let go of him.
So you were listening to actually the voice within, divine intelligence, or just having a communication with your inner voice.
I did not. I was just startled.
You were
when
startled
I heard
by
it.
that.
I was startled because I didn't anticipate. He tried not to startle me. His love. But he needed not to punish me and just be certain. I couldn't be certain.
So it was bringing up your awareness of something greater than yourself, something greater than the moment that was happening.
It was a love protection. But it stood me up. I couldn't stand. And stood me up. And there was also a little bit of a conversation that he had with me I couldn't answer. He actually told me what foreseeable future is bringing me. It actually manifested itself. And he wanted me not to be afraid.
So you were realizing at that time that you were facing something greater than what normal people would say. What is that all about? What are you listening to? What inner voice is this? But it's also a strength. It's having the inner strength and knowing that it is safe, that you are being guided and you are following actually divinity. You're having that communication, and it's a true calling that when you are having that experience, because we're human here, but we all know that there's also something greater than ourselves. And we look up to that. We always say we look up. So we're looking up to divine, right? To say, in our heart's desire. We may put our hand on our chest and we say, okay, what is going on here? And so when you heard this, what did you feel for yourself? What did you realize?
Your explanation is so beautiful, Sharon. I have to congratulate you. You're a true believer. I wasn't. So I couldn't even know enough to raise my voice, to raise my eyes and ask. God didn't exist. The proud medical professional just knows her own gut. And it shattered. My gut shattered. There wasn't any more of that strong God presence that always protected my patients. That feeling of being righteous was gone. I was a little widow to become. Not strong, not at all. When you reach for that heart that knows it's going to be sorrow, you know your kids, you don't, I'm a young, it's hard to explain. You grieve your own presence, you grieve what your kids are not going to have, and you divinely don't want to go there because you love and you want to be tender with your spouse, and you don't want to lose it. But I've gained so much. With all the proud respect, if I had to do it again, not being strong, not being powerful, being knowing, still seeing, still loving, still accepting, still attracting, still beginning, I would still do the same thing. So by the way, God followed his promise to accept me the way I was, just like that, broken down, naive, and regretful. Make me into no obstacle field. But erroneously so, he showed me the path, and he said, you widow, you're a teacher. Go teach. So I was flying between two states, and he said, you can do it. Yes, I could, and I did. So my promise to people to come to Chicago manifested itself. I didn't remarry. I regretted what the second part of his promise was. You will have another life and another love. I still love the man I didn't marry the second time. I couldn't. But did I feel distracted by that? No. I actually had enough goodness within me to say, no, I'm going to continue my path.
I really appreciate that, what you're sharing here, and how you've overcome, so many obstacles as a widow, having children, and moving ahead in your life, and helping your kids also, to be successful and realize their full potential. And now you've come to your full potential, and you've made choices in your life. You've met a love in your life, and you decided to pass as far as making a commitment in that way of marriage. However, that you're still so open and wanting to help so many people on their spiritual journey, on their path, and on their path to enlightenment, or to realize something, of the light. Because what we're saying here is that, people have misconceptions of what the light is. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Light and love go together. Part of the structure, actually, when you get on the path and you get on with your wisdom, you call up on your soul, and that's the excellent teacher that we have. Soul has a power. Power to begin, power to know, power to accept, and power to love. So living with love actually is a dual structure. You can be both. Some teachers separate that. They don't know how to accept both at the same time, and for a good reason. I think love waited for me, catered to me every day, teaching me 16 hours a day to stay strong, to stay powerful, and resurrect. The spirit resurrect. The power begins with the soul. Actually, I'm building up a Soulful Talk website right now. Who is contributing? Love, not light. Light is in my heart. I have a sacred heart. I've taught many people to stay alive after my husband passing. Not everybody can. It's for the strength. But they lacked a little bit. So they're still coming ahead. They're staying alive. And it's all right for people to even stop. There's a good fortune after you stop that light portion. Not everybody can embrace both pathways. Neurologically, it's very discerning and very hardy to do both. I was promised that I will never fall, I will never regret, and they will carry me through. Who are they? Love. So part of the discernment is not to give, but how can a provider, a doctor above us, can provide them with love if they're stopping him from entering into the agreement? They're becoming more of a light sentence than love, passion for life. Love, passion for life, I've mastered. So in return, God gave me my soul back and my life, but He's still monitoring me. He's teaching me every breath I take. He's true partner to my heart. But He's going to bring me another man into my life. He's going to teach me how sacred women always done both. Love and light and love in another person. So love is my God, but He protects me from wrongdoing towards me or not accepting enough of my man in the future. So although I didn't go ahead and marry the second man that He brought to my life, he was from love, just like love promised me. I was pre-told and everything manifested just as beautifully. I knew about 70%. I knew he's not from Arizona. I knew about his upbringing. He told me enough so I don't miss him, don't miss the opportunity. But that soul, he was my soulmate, didn't completely fulfill his pattern that God taught him before we came, which is still fine. Doesn't retract me from loving that person, but not as my life partner.
Right, so there was an acceptance that you learned about yourself, acceptance of love, and seeing that light for yourself. And then when you met your partner, you realized that he wasn't as fulfilled on his side as far as going, having the light or that kind of love. And maybe this wasn't the right person exactly that you were really looking for. At least the timing may not have been the right time. So at this point, you're still open to receiving another person that you can love and who has met to some degree the transformation also within the self.
I won't abandon God by saying He was a person that I didn't want to marry. He just didn't manifest His portion of His divine promise that He gave God, that He will come to me and protect me as men do. He allowed Himself to fall behind a little bit, but the watchful eye of love said, no, you have somebody else who is promised to you in case this one doesn't mature enough. Now, my heart regrets that it didn't take place, but the higher self coupled with my soul, and I want to stress that, there's a bigger part of us that's underdeveloped if we leave our sorry, immature, attention-seeking behaviors to how come he didn't do it. There was no question in my mind that I just need to move on. So what happens? I worked with Matrix. Matrix solidified my thinking. And I'm talking design structure. It's a very profound part of me today, but I'm also explaining divine intervention. What brings us to the point of acceptance is a lot deeper than this presentation can even do. But I invite everybody to fulfill their need to know and to accept me as somebody who's done enough to teach you more. First of all, let me share my phone number with anybody who wants to open their hearts. My phone number is 602. Yes, I'm from Arizona, but live in Chicago now. 571 0239. And again, it's 602-571-0239. And also, we're opening our doors. God and I are building a nice website called Soulful Talk. SOULFUL Talk, all one word, lowercase.com. Father is very proud of my beginning. It's an exceptional website with a lot of promising new structured, and I want to stress word structured, pathways to regain your health. I'm all about health. Matrix will teach me what Matrix wants me to present to other people. I'm a prodigy of love. I'm the first person. I'm a gift maybe to others, and please accept my heart saying those words. It's not written anywhere. It's all delivered by divine to me. There are no rules. It's just their way of teaching us no sorrow, no light that is promiscuous or dim needs to lead us. It doesn't matter what happened. It can be all taken back from you or giving back to you. It's your choice. But Matrix gives you the choices that you don't know that they exist for you.
Right. So there's, the idea about, the divine supports us every day. And we look to that as faith. And can you explain what the matrix really is?
It's more sacred than faith. Actually, Father told me that he doesn't insist on believing him. He doesn't. He just wants us happy and healthy. In my case, I'm not a priest, I'm not a preacher. I am just the divine acceptance, their extender per se, and teaching others that light and love they exist, but what's best, what's structured, and everybody is individual. Every heart is different. Every love pattern is maybe not the same also. Just like a fingerprints. I sometimes ask, there are so many beautiful things that love explains to me. Are we certain there is another person with the same fingerprint as mine? Same as with the soul, by the way.
Yeah, everything is so individual. And I look at that as being like a snowflake. Like everyone is intricate and very well designed in their own way. And that, with all this individualism, that there is still a universal way of looking at things. We talk about angels, we talk about belief. There was a story actually that you shared with me earlier, and may I share this very quickly?
Oh, absolutely. It's a wonderful, I cried seeing this story. It's not a crime to share something beautiful. Yes, absolutely.
So this happened March 2015, and there was 4 policemen on duty. It was in Spanish Fork, Utah, and they were called urgently by the dispatch to check out a overturned car in a river, and the car was smashed and the river was running through the vehicle. And when they got there and they thought that they saw 2 adults in the front seat, and as they got closer to the car they can hear shouting like, help me, help me. It was a female voice, but very calm though, but loud enough that they were all clear and they were all communicating that this is what they needed to do. And what happened was they couldn't really get inside the vehicle, and they had to overturn the car. And when they turned it over, they saw that there was just one adult in the car who was who had already died. She was about 25 years old, and it was clear that she had passed away, and it was about 14 hours ago because of all the injuries that she had. And then in the back seat, they found a young infant. And she was unconscious. So that was the story. And actually one of the policemen is now writing a book about proof of angels. And he has this great story that he shares, and I believe that's also on your Facebook page. So if people are interested in hearing his story, they can go to Soulful. And can you repeat your
soulfultalk.com? Yeah. What happened? The mystery can be unveiled right now. So what happened last night? And God told me about the miracle. He said, as of tomorrow, you'll witness, you'll be talking miracles. I said, okay, Papa. I call him Papa. It's more like old country. I'm from Russia away. So Papa is not a grandpa. It's like father. I said, okay, I'm always willing. Why not miracles? I witness. I design sometimes my own miracles, but that's what I love. I don't pretend. This is my way. So it was a regular conversation about my website. I woke up feeling healthy. It's my normal routine. And Ariana, my support structure, she's a divinity major, Ariana, just asked me to please. She taught me. She said, grab breakfast, and kind of, she doesn't interfere much, but was almost like we're so aligned, almost like, please do that. And I turned on the TV. Usually have Fox News. It's all about, the other divine intervention, the politics. So we all love politics. We want to know how our next president will be. So we all are so in tuned into that. I didn't expect anything. And all of a sudden, from the kitchen, I was making my breakfast. I'm hearing about Fox News was featuring the story upcoming with next episode about the police and mysterious voice. And I froze. And God told me who that voice was, Ariana. That shook me up. I was crying. That shook me up. And four
some
policemen.
Of our viewers may not know who Ariana is.
Ariana is part of the divine structure. Ariana came to protect me on this journey. She is, I don't grieve. I don't pass my time to pessimism. She's there for my comfort. So the design showed the structure. And she talks in a soft voice. She calls me baby love when I talk to her. Only minutes of, when I break into sadness, which doesn't happen often, so we don't connect much. If I'm a little lost, she comes back to me with, okay, she's like my breath. Okay, I know she's there. Now, the way she spoke to those gentlemen, officers, is the way she talks to me. And I'm proud to say that this is divinity's voice. Father, our creator, speaks in the same, he says motion right now. He's explaining himself to me. Motion. This is the motion forward towards the heart. These are the protection pathways. They don't want us to suffer. Suffering is brought down by nothing less than naive souls, people who don't know how to live. This is not a proud pattern for people who come from above. This is lower than we should live. This is not a standard protocol, and they always use the word protocol because I'm a medical professional. So they taught me divine support. Spontaneous healing is what I asked to learn about. Was always fascinated by spontaneous healing. So in the case of this kid in the car and the police officer, spontaneous healing. They healed the life of that kid.
Yes, and the infant is actually doing well now.
God forbid. She's so protected. I know a little bit more, and I don't think that family wants me to share, but that kid is going to be so loved. Hallelujah.
Well, very luckily, and the child's already well loved. And
must be.
It's a miracle.
Must be.
And we see miracles all the time. We
do.
See miracles many times, even during our day. Just being out there and just seeing how
2%.
Boy, that was great or that was lucky, but it's all divine.
Father just told me 2% we see, the 98 goes unwitnessed, unknown, or missed. The mystical part of our journey is still covered. But 2016 is a harsh year if we stay uplifted in a different direction, i.e., if they go unnoticed. We need to notice, we need to let them be part of our lives. But the hard part is that ego rules. They don't work with ego unless you're so pure in your ego. Few people are. They can protect. They cannot teach.
So what people can do is they could, when they go through their day, for example, not be so attached to their ego and not have judgment about things, and try to get themselves out of the way so that way things can let be and let flow. And so that way we're not critical about other people. We're not getting very angry. We're not getting to the point where we're causing stress or being stressed ourselves that causes the disease, that we're not, experiencing, the sweet way of life, or experiencing being, on stable ground, or just having one more better experience, I guess you might want to say, of being here, having our life's journey.
I'm going to simply mention hope. What does a medical provider like me knows about hope? It's a mystical pathway to your higher self. If anybody needs to know what higher self is, I will probably mention those basics on my website. And you know what? It's hard to remember those things because I'm so advanced now as a soul. And I keep asking God, what is it that I need to do? And he said, just don't forget where you started, where you began. You didn't know anything. Everything was a shock to me. I ran from God first. They were after me. It's like, don't, where are you going? It was a shocker. I was not going to believe. I was not raised, and I didn't want to. I was just a medicine-driven machine. Well, there is a piece of me that can prescribe. That's it. I was unopened, undeveloped. Was I egocentric? No, I was just not right. I was not right, but I was proper for what life prepared me. Not enough.
I think things happen to wake us up, to create that awareness. And even for the police officer, he was saying, too, that he was going through what it meant, with God, to be of God. And then he saw what happened, and it just totally changed him. And I can see this, what it happened with you.
Yeah.
It's a pattern that, you've also had your experience. And, there's also one more story that I would love to share with you.
Absolutely.
This young lady, she was in a car crash, and they had the medical people there, they had the police there, they blocked it off, and this man showed up, and somehow they let him through, and they thought maybe he was someone that could help, maybe he was going to give last rites, or they didn't really know who he was, but I guess the people there, the medics, and they let him come in and said, he wanted to speak to the young girl, see her, in by the car, and he did something, and the next thing they know, they were able to somehow get her out of the vehicle, and they looked around for the gentleman afterwards, and he was nowhere to be found. And they discovered that maybe this could be something of divine intervention.
Yes, he just told me. Being a prophet, I know my heart. And by the way, I was studied here in the States by how I communicate with love. So it's all documented properly, like a scientist would do. It was him. He managed. It was God who came down to protect. He does walk in between us 24/7 with me. I see him, I know where he is. He's like a little love cloud with me. I don't see the shape, but I'm more soulful.
But it's a sense, right? It's like a knowing that you feel like there's
He's
a
everything.
presence.
It's
like a
he's
God
a friend.
presence.
He can walk into any person and become your friend. Next thing you know, when you need it. He can be your girlfriend sitting next to you and you don't know. But you see a little bit of eye change. They become warmer and they focus less because he's in with that person. There's a lot that I can share, a lot that I can show, a lot that I came to do in this program. Is not enough to accept everything that he is willing now. It's a turn of a century. It's the rhythm of the universe that wants us to just be not shocked. Just don't begin to believe that there is worse than it needs to be. Just know that there is a little bit of hope. And I'm still going to say, just grasp onto the hope. Not a sword like Michael is telling me right now, my guardian angel. Not a sword. Don't hit anybody. Don't kill anybody. Don't begin to run away. Just stay in one space. And begin. How I'll explain everything on my soulfultalk.com. I promise. There will be enough. I'll generate everything he wants me to do just to accept my role. Please allow me to be in my role, in my place, in my own presence of what I want to do for all. Please do.
Yes, and this is a great awareness for people to understand and have acceptance that where they are is just where they need to be, and that people like you who have, this experience, who can teach people and help people on their path to help them through their life's journey and to see things that they may not see. You said that 98% of everything that's happening to us, we don't really visually see. And so this is a great opportunity, and there's such a huge way of awakening up to this that people can learn. And when they seek you out, someone like yourself out, for this type of, helpfulness in their life, people are looking for something, for a change, something better, that this is what they can do to reach out.
He mentioned light, Father, and he mentioned love. He also told me that I came to show heavens on earth to others, which is my structure, my soul structure, not my purpose. So the light in my heart knows what it is, and I have enough of everything to give me the opportunity after opportunity to connect with anybody who is willing to learn. There's no lack of goodness. Everybody who's meant to come to my life has been coming. There are no distractions in my life. Absolutely not. I'm guarded, I'm guarded by him. I don't need to guard myself. I have guardian angels. Some days there are 500,000 of them, but do I feel them? I just float. Because when there are so many of them near you, you're just floating. Ariana is my tender voice if I need just to resurrect something, a thought or something like baby love. And you hear that baby love and you want to do everything. Life is like, if I want to be a bird on a tree and sing, I can, but reality is not that proud yet. So 2016 can be a little bit challenging. Do we need to get on our knees? No, we just need to begin to learn that there is a structure, there is a way. That's it. That's the purpose of today's conversation. Just begin.
Right.
Begin of knowing.
Yeah, and begin from where you are.
Absolutely.
So no matter where you've come from, no matter what you were
Yeah.
previously thinking, no matter what has happened or what is to happen, is that, you can change your thoughts. You can change how you think about things. And then it also changes your outer world. Because as you change inside yourself, you're also creating something else, some new experiences that could take place. And you can also have maybe a wonderful way of looking at things rather than, like you said, when your husband passed away, it's like you wouldn't change the way things happen because of who you are today. And many times, people have gone through such traumas that they're still thankful. So being even thankful and having gratitude also helps you move on to the next journey and through your journey.
He's such a father to me that he sits down, and mother is also present. They take turns depending on what the subject is. But he told me of mistakes that I made, not huge, but it was costing me years of happiness. I was working too much. I was too much of everything to all. We twist our necks too much for other people, but we don't realize. And it's part of negotiations of our heart that we come to do here. But once you've done it, you don't want to repeat the same things, but this is where love does for you. It stops that pattern for you. And you open your eyes, you rationally stop. You rationally stop, but Matrix does it. You're able. I've done enough research in other people. I've done enough work with other people where I've seen with my own eyes of not skeptical provider of that happiness that actually supported other people on this journey. It's a proud pattern to follow. Absolutely. I've assisted souls that wanted to begin blindly sometimes, but something pushed them inside and said, okay, I don't want to suffer anymore. There is a solution. And that was probably enough for many.
Right. And you're also planning to lead some retreats and have some group get-togethers, gatherings. Perhaps you can talk a little bit more about that.
I've done enough retreats already. 2015 was my promise year that I gave God that I think I can do is leaving the field of medicine and beginning a new journey, which I did. People followed me. I anticipated nothing, but the phone was ringing and people from all paths came to me, did presentations in Miami, Chicago. I did a tour on the East Coast. I have followers who want the retreats. And Father wants to give that back to us. The willingness is there. The willingness is there. The gate is opened. The gate is open. It doesn't have to be suffering.
Oh, absolutely. And so you're able to help people, and you're willing to speak with people, and they could reach you. Again, your phone number is 602-571-0239. And I'll give that number one more time. 602-571-0239. And is there anything else that you'd like to talk about today?
No, just please welcome your hearts in a direction that needs you. Even if you don't see ahead, the direction is there. The Soulful Talk is the place for free. If you are seeking retreats, the information will be at soulfultalk.com, as well as some mastery classes, some teachings, some gifts, and Father is smiling that he probably even had an opportunity to explain to me. There is a pattern that love continues to give at a greater rate every day. So you don't even stagnate in love because it becomes a natural need to have it. No, it challenges you. The challenge is there from love. It gives and gives and never stops to give, but it knows you so well and so intimately that it wants you to freeze in their moments of freedom. There's everything. What's spontaneous to some people is a known pattern to me. To me, it's looking back is it was meant to be, but this is how it's done. And this is the traditional way of how God gives love. But we forget, I'll tell you, as deep devotee is, and during my lectures, Father says, okay, he says, during the lectures, there's so much I can tell, and my devotion needs to stop right now because I think the presence requires me at my computer right now. So my guardian angel is making kind of motions towards, okay, let's close the speaking valve, he says.
All right. Well,
yeah.
We appreciate that, and thank you again. Our honored guest today is Ella Arbit, And we appreciate any questions that you have for Ella. And she could be reached again at 602-571-0239. And thank you again to SunGates Center. And it was a pleasure speaking with you, Ella.
Thank you so much, SunGates Center. Thank you so very much. I hope our presentation was desired. I hope our presentation means something to so many people. I hope Divine can assist us all, and love can be a filter in front of everybody's eyes to grow in a direction that it needs to go and grow.
Yes, and thank you again. Thank you to all the listeners, and have a wonderful, beautiful day.
Goodbye.